address from the crowd form as well. So there's going to be a time, 10 or 15 minutes, maybe between each session, and we'll have time to be able to hobnob, maybe find somebody, ask some questions, introduce yourselves, and so on like that. So we're going to start with the commissioners, then we'll do the running for chairman of the commissioners, and then we'll do the sheriff. We sort of have our questions are going to be the same for everybody, so you might get a little bored if after I ask the question to the sheriff that I ask to the commissioner that I ask to the chairman. But we just want to get some ideas of some thoughts and so on. And we'll try to speed this along. So we just ask for your cooperation, listen, and see if we can learn a little bit about some of these candidates. For those, not everybody knows everybody anymore. As I'm getting up into my 70s now, some of you younger folks, I remember some of you younger folks from me are this young. Now you got them older than that. So, but introduce, be able to let's just have a good time and enjoy this time together as the party and get some information. So our first up then, well, I'll ask them to come take a seat. Is the Board of Commissioners. Garrett or anybody, if you see something on the agenda I skip, just raise your hand and let me know real quick. I can always use help. So first round, we have our commissioner candidates. So Bradley Hall, Chris Reed, Erika Smith. You come up front, please. And first of all,
Little louder.
can I speak louder?
Yeah. Thank you.
I think I can.
If you can.
I was thanking them for just putting themselves out there, and all the candidates. I mean, it's a thing. And I really appreciate you guys putting yourselves out there and trying to do as much as you can for our community and our county. So I guess that's the first question, and I guess I'm not going to have you start first every time. That wouldn't be fair, but I'll have you start first this time, and we'll just go down the line. So the first, just introduce yourself, and what do you see yourself bringing to the position?
I'm going to stand up because
Please,
I am
yeah,
naturally soft-spoken, so this might make it easier to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So hello everyone, my name is Erika Smith. I moved here in 2009, so I know that doesn't make me from here, and that's a big debate, but I was never really from anywhere. I grew up in the Navy with a single mother, and that wasn't easy on either one of us. But I got to learn so much from so many different places and so many different cultures. And I got to grow up around sailors and pilots. It was so cool seeing all that community, all these different people working together, living together, getting along together. And I was raised believing that we are not Republicans, we're not Democrats, we're not independents. We're all one human, we're one family of people trying to just make it in this world. And my mother, yeah, she's a Republican, but she always was very adamant about me having my own opinions, being informed, forming my own opinions, and always nurturing them. And that's something that I want to bring to this county. I want to bring everyone together. I want to bring all of my experiences and say, hey, we don't have to not get along because someone says we're not supposed to. You know, I've made it clear, hey, I think it's kind of funny that some of my friends don't know my political stance, because we don't make it about that. We make it about getting along with each other. So when I moved here in 2009, I was actually going to be on a small vacation. I was leaving Florida. I couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted a new change. My step family is from here. And I said, hey, I want to relax in the mountains a little bit. They're nice people up there. I fell in love with the area. And then I met a man. And I said, I'm not going back anywhere. This man is amazing. I'm going to stay. And we ended up getting married the next year. So that's my love story. It's not just falling in love with a man and staying here. I fell in love with the entire community. I fell in love with these mountains. And I think that we need to be a steward to not just the community, not to each other, but to these mountains. So something I want to bring to this position is I want to bring humanity. I want to bring us together. I want to bring respect, because we are not respecting each other. Other counties are not respecting us. I cannot tell you how embarrassing it is to listen to someone from Macon County going, I can't wait to see your next commissioners meeting. I want to see what happens next. No, it doesn't need to be like that. I want to hear from Macon County, hey, you guys are listening to each other. You're bringing great ideas to the table. Let's work together. I want to go to the TDA board. I want to go to the town board. And I want to say, hey, let's work together. We have a bunch of issues that we need solutions to, but we cannot do this by ourselves. We need to all work together, and that's something that I want to bring.
That'll work. Thank you. Same question, so.
And I guess I'll
Introduce and what do you
since we
bring?
don't have a PA. My name is Chris Reed. I'm running for commissioner of Swain County. What I bring to the table, I've been involved with social programs, with volunteerism, and just with the Democratic Party for probably close to 25 years, I guess. I come from Cherokee, North Carolina. I've lived there much of my life, except a short stint in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I went to school and I studied hospitality and tourism at University of North Carolina at Greensboro. In my view of the government and the way that the current commissioner operates, much like Erika said, I don't want to steal much of it, but there is that need of having respect and decorum inside the chambers, being able to understand that there is a larger picture that needs to be said and focused on when it comes to the actual organization of the government. When we look at the infighting that happens, the finger pointing, things like that, we need to be able to understand that there are issues that take place and that take precedence above just the simple squabbling that is occurring right now. And yes, it's embarrassing to see these things, especially when they can debate an issue for years. And it's saddening because the way that I hope to see and bring to the table just progress and just being able to move forward, being able to understand issues, take an objective view of it, and then come forth with solutions that actually matter. I would really love to see us be more active here within the region, being able to have programs and things that are the envy of other counties. You know, I know we'll get into some of the stuff later on, but it's surprising to me to see the amount of potential that we have here in the county as far as what we can do economically, what we can do with natural resources, what we can do with tourism. And I hope if I'm elected, I can at least bring my experience of working in cities and working in rural areas and hopefully bring that together to help benefit everyone across the county. I know when I announced candidacy, folks were asking me, well, what are you going to do for the EBCI? I said, well, I don't represent the EBCI if I'm a county commissioner. I represent folks in Fontana. I represent folks in Gila and Nantahala. Across the entire county, it can't just be focusing on this one area because I see it as a disservice to you all and to the rest of the county if I'm only representing the tribe. And they have their own representation for that. So I'm going to work for you all. I'm going to work for the county if I'm elected. So again, thank you for your time and thank you for being here.
I'm Bradley Hall. I'm running for county commissioner. I feel that I would bring, steady leadership, a new voice to. I don't do a lot of public speaking. I haven't done it in a while. I used to be a substitute teacher and had to talk on a different subject every day, but now it's a little bit different field. So
I promise you're among friends.
I'm going to read my document that I've prepared. So let's see here. So I will bring practical problem solving, city leadership, and a focus on results, not slogans. I listen. I will build coalitions across differences And I mean, we all have differences, but I think that a lot of the differences we have, we could settle by just meeting and talk, not throwing chairs at each other at county commissioner meetings. Though I'm really good at dodging if that does happen. I'll push to deliver projects that make everyday life easier for all of us. Like, safer roads, homes that people can afford who want to live here, broadband so that people can, live here, work here, learn things, at school, effective programs to reduce drug harms. I know we have a big drug problem here, and I know that when we talk to the sheriff candidates, they will most likely talk about what they want to do in that regard, and I will support, the candidate, the sheriff that wins, in what they want to do to prevent, to stop drug use and the proliferation of drugs in our area. And my job will be to turn county authority into measurable improvements across Swain County. And that's pretty much what I will bring to the table.
Thank you very much, Greg. There, we'll just kind of go,
All right.
rotate that around. And
Yeah.
the second question that we have is, what are your priorities for this office if you are elected in November? What are your priorities?
I'm
in this office?
gonna remain seated for this, but if you need me to speak up louder, I can. Really, what I've seen so far, my priorities, of course, reviewing the budget. I know we're gonna have a budget question here pretty soon, but just taking a look at what we have going on as far as positions that need to be filled, positions that are of utmost priority. I would love to see us get a grant writer back installed in the county. I believe that there's federal and state monies that are sitting around just waiting to be collected. So I believe that's one necessary area that I would love to see as a priority. I would love to work with the school board. Being able to get Swain County back competitive with the state and the region as far as enhancing our educational opportunities for our folks, maybe encouraging some post-high school trainings, looking into grant funding for that. I would really love to see that become something more that we can work with. And I understand that SEC down the road here is something that a lot of folks here, especially in the western part of the county, utilize. So being able to have that as a priority as far as outside of just funding and budgetaries, just if they need other resources, if the county commissioners can possibly help SEC and the school system there attract more instructors there is something that I would like to look at. I see a potential of Swain County delving into its own energy independence. This was something that I was really trying to, when I ran for tribal council, something that I really wanted and knew that it could be a possibility, is providing Swain County its own energy independence either through solar or wind operations. Because right now, I don't know about you all, but I've seen my Duke Energy bill rise close to $90 since a year and a half ago. And so it's absurd to me to see opportunities which get thrown by the wayside. And if we can work in conjunction with the EBCI and tribal government to have a dedicated land area which could operate these things, I think that would be a win for the county and for the region. I mean, if other counties start seeing it and we can start working with other county governments to build these relationships and have a dedicated energy infrastructure, I think that's just a win for us. And then just working, I know a lot of candidates tribally and regionally here, municipalities, talk about affordable housing. That is something that I think is desperately needed, but not just affordable housing. I would like to see a lot more mixed use zoning, so we could follow the European example of having business on the first 2 floors and then rental houses, rental properties on the following stories. That's something I think could work, especially when we have such limited land area for business and residential development. It'd be something to look at. It would help at least in my mind, some of these smaller communities, if we're able to have independent businesses and entrepreneurs on any kind of first floor, second floor development, and then build up, I think that's what we'd be looking at, because just seeing how the tribe operates and they want to expand outward, already just tribally example, we're lacking a lot of land, or we're lacking a lot of available use land just in Cherokee alone. So being able to build up, I think, is going to be the future of the county. And, you know, just making sure that I, as a county commissioner, am available to the public. I know there is always a lot of talk about not being able to reach your county representative. And I think a big priority should be focusing on, you know, dedicated time in the office, dedicated time on the street, talking to the public, business owners, things like that. I think that that would be a large, or at least a more meaningful way to show that your county representatives actually care about the public and the rest of the citizenry at large.
Thank you very much, Chris. Bradley, your priorities, or
Yeah.
what you see as a priority?
Well, I have a few priorities if I'm elected in November, and that would be, finish and maintain critical infrastructure like roads, water, sewer, county buildings, countywide broadband. It's definitely a big one to me. Expand affordable housing options, removing local barriers that slow responsible development. Grow steady year-round jobs outside of tourism. Tourism is great, but in the middle of winter or right after a hurricane, no one's going to come visit us. So the tourism, it's good for a time, but it's not good for all the time. Trades like manufacturing, remote work, which is why I'm really interested in having the broadband expanded throughout the whole county. And then local small business support. Reduce the drug supply and support recovery, which would be coordinated enforcement plus accessible treatment and prevention to prevent people from even getting into drugs in the first place. And then transparent, accountable county government that partners with the local citizens to get things done and not just kick it further down the road, so that the next county commission can pick up the pieces that the one before it had done nothing with. And that's pretty much my priorities.
Thank you, Bradley. Eric?
I have a lot of priorities because there's a lot of work to do. Number one priority is communication. That's what we're all complaining about. I have a phone. It's on 24/7. My clients with my work know that they can get a hold of me. And if they need to text me at 2 a.m., my phone might be on silent, but they can text me at 2 a.m. and when I wake up at 7, I'm responding. We need to make sure that we are communicating to the people that we are working for. We need to communicate with other boards. We need to communicate with the tribe. We need to communicate better with everybody, because we cannot accomplish anything without communicating between our organizations, between the counties, and with our taxpayers. We need to know what's going on. If Edward Mercer has a question, he can call me.
Thank you.
He has made it very clear, and so has other people, that they cannot get in touch with people to voice their concerns or know what's going on. If I have a question, I had a question about budgeting. I haven't seen the budget. It's available, but I've never just gone to get it. So I went up there and talked to Callie Elliott and said, hey, may I have a copy of the budget? I'm just curious. I want to see what it looks like. There was no issue there. But people need to know that they have these things available. So communication is a priority. Another priority is infrastructure. We cannot grow jobs, we cannot develop housing without addressing our infrastructure issues. And a lot of that's going to involve communication, answering the phone. If Mike Clampet's sending us money, we need to answer our phone so he can let us know, hey, I'm sending you money. You need to do this, this, and this to get it. Another thing that's very important for me is our school systems. I don't know if you've been to East Elementary, but you can walk into these school buildings and see that they are dilapidated. They need so much work. They have to run their heater in the summertime just because they have such a moisture issue that it's just overran. And this is at a school where the students are already marginalized. You know, we need to step it up for our kids. We need to step it up for people that are not just in Swain County, but the surrounding counties also. We have the koala boundary, and people are forgetting about them. And that's not okay. We need to make sure that everybody is included, that we are addressing the needs for every person. So those are gonna be my priorities. And then to do that, we're gonna have to really take a look at this budget line by line. I've been going through it, and there's stuff I haven't seen before that I didn't know about because I'm not a county employee. So I'm reading through everything, and I have plenty of questions, and they're getting answered. But it's going to take me a long time. It's going to take a couple of weeks for me to go through this budget. But I see that we are seriously lacking on our education and our emergency services. We are seriously lacking in budgeting numbers.
Well, thank you. So let's go ahead and get started back again. And these, Jeramy Shuler is not here. He had Valentine's plan that he had before, and I can't blame him for that. And you need to take care of your better half on Valentine's Day. So I noticed that. Maybe steak or something later if they do. All right, so let's get started. If I could just start, we'll have Connie's going, well, I'll just let you handle when you get to
yeah,
you.
that's fine.
You want to
that's
go ahead,
fine.
Larry, just introduce yourself and what do you bring to your position?
My name's Edward Larry Simonds. I've lived in this county for 41 years. My family's rooted in these hills a long time. I've seen this county fall the wrong direction. Our kids and grandkids ain't gonna be able to afford to live here much longer. Because all these big businesses coming in here buying up all this land is pricing them out of their housing. So we need to fix that issue. We're gonna work on the train. Train's a big part of this community. It ain't going nowhere. We're gonna have to work with it. We're gonna have to start coming up with some more money, start paying us back for some things. And I am not no politician by no means. I promise you that. Just nervous just sitting right up here.
Oh, you're doing fine.
So that's what I had to bring to this table. So
Thank you very much. And I'll give you the floor. This,
All right.
clearly you can see that this is not Jeremy.
Not Jeremy.
So,
My name is Connie Peterson. I'm the party secretary. And when Jeremy couldn't be here, I said, well, we wanted everyone to have representation. So I said, I will read your answers. So he sent me his answers. So I'd like you to just imagine me talking in a North Carolina drawl instead of a Wisconsin accent, please. And you can see somebody more masculine in front of you instead of me, okay? So I'll read for Jeremy. My name is Jeramy Shuler, and I am running for chairman of the Swain County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm a proud native of Swain County, and my wife Allie and I have been married for 25 years. Together we've raised 3 children and are blessed with 3 grandchildren. I currently serve as captain with the Bryson City Fire Department, and I previously served 3 terms on the Swain County Board of Elections. I'm running for this seat because I deeply care about Swain County, and I believe we can continue moving forward together, restoring order, respect, and transparency through positive leadership. I want to be a good steward of our county's future by strengthening communication with the EBCI boundary, the town of Bryson City, and all community partners as we work collaboratively to build the infrastructure our citizens deserve. I'm committed to serving with integrity, listening to every voice, and ensuring that Swain County remains a place we are proud to call home.
thank you. And as I've said, some of these questions are gonna be familiar, because we just asked them. So the next one is about the priorities. What are your priorities for this office if you're elected in November? And I'll just let you start.
All right.
Since you're here, we'll
That's
just do that.
fine. My priorities would be, everybody has to be on the same page in this whole meeting. You can't have these against them. They have to work together. So we need to work on that. We need to be able to show people where we spent money. I talked to some tribal members. They actually have a book that they see their tribal members every month. It breaks down the cost of their infrastructure, what they get budgeted, any kind of grants they get. It breaks down. We don't necessarily have to do that every month, but every quarter would be nice. In a newspaper, you know, that would help out with people a lot with the tax money, where it's going. When we get money from budget, from grants, it would help go where that money goes. Things like that. It's like I said, I'm not a politician. This is all new to me. You know, I watch the commissioners' meetings. I see what a circus it is down there. You know, it don't need to be that way no more at all. So we need to come together as a community and as a board down there and work together with the people, for the people.
Thank you. Next question, I will go ahead and start on that side so that it's not, the next question is the budgeting priorities.
Can I do the priorities then?
Sorry. Yes, you can.
All right, thank you.
And don't tell Jeremy I tried to speak.
Jeremy's priorities as a chairman would be to restore respect, order, and transparency. He says he would like to reestablish a respectful, orderly forum that works together for the good of the county, strengthen relationships with the town of Bryson City and the EBCI to better serve all citizens, ensure full transparency in all county projects, internal operations, and contracted work alike.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm thinking ahead too far. So now I'll go back to you, Connie, or to
Okay.
Jeremy. And what are your budgeting priorities? What do you think needs more resources? And the second part of that question, are there any areas where you would look for savings?
So, I am sure if Jeremy were here, he'd go into more detail, but he has the bullet points here for this. He would continue securing funding and working on constructing a new middle school. He would address rising county employee insurance costs in a fair and responsible way. Advocate for increased resources for fire service, including pursuing funding for 24/7 fire protection. And work with commissioners to identify responsible savings while still meeting the needs of the departments that require additional support.
Thank you. Go to our next question. This is one we didn't get to on the other, but the salaries for county employees are budgeted. Would you rather have lower paid staff or fewer better paid staff? Start with you on that, Mr. Roberts.
I would rather have fewer better paid employees. As a business owner in construction, you know, I hire people, fire people. But when I hire somebody, they need to know what they're doing. I need to trust those people to go out and do their job when I tell them to go do this job. We've got 200 and some county employees here, and I don't know what half of them do. I see them sitting around. I've seen them sitting around in their trucks. Do we just pay them for sitting there? We don't know what they're supposed to be doing. We don't even know what job they're supposed to be on. They don't even know what job they're supposed to be on. because the higher people above them is not giving them specific orders to what to do and where to go, and they can't even keep track of them. So that's where I see that.
Same question?
Jeremy says he would support salaries that reflect the cost of living and help retain quality employees. At this time, I do not believe a reduction in staff is necessary. And he would collaborate with commissioners to review and justify salaries in a fair and consistent manner.
Thank you. And we got one more question that we'll ask. And Mr. Simonds, I'll just start, well, let's start with Jeremy on this. The question, if you can, it is, how would you like to see county balance tourism with other economic opportunities? Does he have an answer
He
for
does
that?
not have an answer. I've heard him speak on it before, but I don't wanna put words in his mouth either, so.
Well, let's see, I'm not sure what to do then. Is it fair is it go ahead and fair
Yeah,
to ask?
yeah.
Let's just
Yeah,
go
he's
ahead-
here.
Let's just
He's
go
here.
ahead and ask that question
Yep.
to Mr. Simonds, although Jeremy's not here to answer that question, let's not hold that against him. So the question again was, how would you like to see county balance tourism with other economic opportunities?
There ain't a whole lot to do in this county at all. As I growed up, you know, we had sports and stuff. I've seen that dwindle away a lot. The trains, you know, it's the more tourism part of this county. I'm not sure I can answer that question. I don't have that question down here.
Yeah, I may have thought, and I didn't mean to throw a curveball, I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
I
if
don't
that was in
have
your.
that question down here.
I think that we actually have that down here as a bonus question, but so I'm not sure if you weren't, if nobody was ready for that, that's fine. It may be that when we do a break again in just a minute, we'll see that. Well, that's the questions then that we have for you guys. I do want to make one quick announcement, then we'll take another little break. This won't be quite as long. Our Board of Education folks, we have two, they are not here, and that is Brandy Monteith and Danny Shuler. And I believe they have some things going on that they weren't able to be here, and they're not gonna be going through a primary anyway, because both of them will be on the Democratic ticket for the general. So Brandy Monteith and Danny, I think one of them had some personal issues, health issues with family, and one is cheering on a son at basketball. So let's not blame mamas for cheering on babies at basketball. So that's where we are with that. So let's go ahead. You guys, thank you very much. We'll go.
Grant funded for 5 years, the county was supposed to pick it up and continue with that, not just, for 6 months or a year, and it's kind of fell to the wayside over the years. And so I want to bring back a full-time domestic violence investigator. That investigator would follow cases from initial contact to all the way through the court system, working with the domestic violence shelters in Swain and Cherokee, and bringing training back to other officers. So domestic violence is important to a lot of people. They brought it to my attention. One thing too, to kind of make the department run more efficient and be more effective, I want to restructure the department to get more people out on patrol. I don't know how many people they've got now on patrol, but we need to maximize the people we have on patrol. They're the ones that are out here talking to people, seeing what's going on, answering all these calls, working holidays and everything else. So we want to, I want to restructure, put people where they'll be more efficient and effective for Swain County. So, and then a couple more things I have. The jail. So in the jail, so a couple of programs I'm interested in. I'm sure for this Sunrise program that Sheriff Kirkland has now. I think it's a good program. I'm for that. to go along with that, I think we do have to, like Doug was saying, we do have to get this MAP program started. You know, we don't have any choice. You know, it's listed under the American Disabilities Act. If somebody comes in, they're on something like Suboxone and they're taking that, you have to provide it for them. And there's money out there, there's grants, but in the end, it's going to take some county funding to effectively carry that out. So, I'm for that. Another thing we talked about is, when I worked at Swain for 18 years, I arrested parents. You end up arresting their kids, just a vicious cycle. So we got to figure out something to keep these folks, from coming back to the jail. Help them get their GED while you're in jail. Partner with Southwestern Community College or somebody. And then, things like IDs. Try to help them get their IDs, something to help them introduce them back into, help them get into society when they get out of jail. And another program here that I worked with in Andrews, it's called Mission of Hope, and they have they partner with a lot of folks. They do work with unhoused folks a lot, but they work with people that come into the jail. Rachel is the lady, my contact, and Andrews, it was a tent meeting type event. It's faith-based. And they will come into the jails, and what they do is they come in, and if you're coming out, say you're coming out where you were incarcerated, they'll take you in, you stay for a year. They work on things like helping. They work on They do have people that work with if you have an addiction issue, they help with that. They help you with job skills. You do go out and do some community service type things. And then in that second year, toward the end of the first year into the second year, they help you get a job, and you pay them some rent and kind of help you get back on your feet. And that's a program I have talked to Rachel personally that they would be willing to come over, not just for to help, with maybe a tent service for some of the unhoused folks, and come into our jails and help out and offer that. The way that's funded, it's some of the places are in Florida, some in Georgia, and the way some of it's state funded, but others are sponsored by churches. They may sponsor an individual to go into one of these programs. So, in the jail, that's kind of one of the things. And then, just like we've all talked about here today, just rebuilding these relationships. I talked when I went out in the county about a civilian resource committee. It's not community watch. It's where the communities pick out a person in their community, and once a month, once every 2 months, they meet with the sheriff. They don't meet with one of the sheriff's deputies. They meet with the sheriff and share their concerns. You share their ideas, some problems they may have. Maybe it might be somebody in the community having trouble that might need some help. And so, that's just a few things I have and that I've been thinking about. And so I just wanted to mention them here.
Thank you very much. And I guess we'll start with you. I'll let you catch your breath there a minute.
Okay.
We'll start back with you on the budgeting priorities. And the question, and I like it, that Garrett is a much better wordsmith than I, and he put these questions better together. And so I'm going to read it. What are your budgeting priorities? What do you think needs more resources? And are there any areas where you would look for savings? I guess like I was saying, he's a better wordsmith. I guess I was saying, what do we need to spend more on? What do we need to spend less on? Sounds much more professional from a wordsmith. But so, David, if I'll let you take that over, and you'll fall after it.
This is strictly from a sheriff's department standpoint, sheriff's department jail combination. I think priorities are going to be personnel. I know the sheriff's office got a raise last year, but it took a lot of years, to get these guys up to where they needed to be, because you're competing with everybody. When I was first in law enforcement, people would stay at one place their whole career, but that's not the case anymore. People are bouncing around, so you got to pay these guys and ladies competitive wages, So I think that would include salaries, equipment, vehicles. We definitely, I think a big priority is in the jail. There's issues with sanitation, mold. It's hard to get people to work in jail, so I think we're gonna have to get salaries up for those folks also. And, just general budget and maintenance, and some ways I thought about saving money were officers need training. So it's important, one of the most important things, if you don't know the law, you can't enforce the law. So you gotta get the training you need. So in North Carolina, we have the Justice Academy. We have one in Edneyville. We have one in Salemburg. We have Samarkand that's down toward the middle of the state. We have Southwestern Community College, Haywood, Tri-County. All these places offer training either at very low cost or a minimal cost. The Justice Academy, both places, is free. All you have to do, even your housing is free. All you do is drive down, you have to pay for your meals. So we save a bunch of money we can train our officers, and we don't have to spend a lot of money. There's training out there. It costs $500 for one online class. I think we should spend our money carefully when it comes to training, get as good a training as we can get for the best price. And with these folks here, all offering training, I think that's a no-brainer to go, for our training. And another thing is these vehicles. Swain County should be on they should be on a state contract for any vehicle. So I'm sure Mountain Ford can get that same, shouldn't be an issue. So we should be getting that down here at Mountain Ford, the same price that every other agency in North Carolina is getting. So, but another thing is the equipment to go in these vehicles. I mean, you're talking probably, if you're on a rotation with the amount of employees, you should be on a rotation where you rotate 7 cars a year. I mean, you can't, I know that sometimes I've seen 12 cars, 14 cars, but either way you do it, you should rotate 7 cars a year. These cars are just not going to last. Law enforcement drives them a lot, and you're just not going to get 7 or 8 years out of a patrol car, so you need to rotate them around. So upfitting these cars are important. It's expensive, and so my thoughts were, with the equipment that goes in the cars, we can get equipment, again, just like with the cars at state contract prices through places like Dana Safety. Anybody can check with them, and they get the lowest price on all of the equipment. That's your lights, your cages, your consoles, and they drop ship it to your department, and then you decide who you want to fix them. You don't just go with WCCS, whoever you go with, and not get any quotes. We need quotes. That way we get all the equipment drop shipped, then we can decide who puts the equipment in. I think this is going to save us anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a car. So there is savings there that we can, I think we need to look for. There's grants. I'm familiar with, we done it in Andrews, we done it at Western Carolina University. If you get body armor, so for a vest and a carrier, it costs you anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 depending on what company. So there's grants out there for that. So there's a 50-50 grant, and then there's a $200 grant where you end up paying, you may end up paying $400 for a $1,200 vest. So we have to look for grants. They're out there. And last on that, I started this up in Andrews. We used to do it here in Swain. It's a better program now. LESS program, it's called the LESS program, LESS, Law Enforcement Support. And basically you get equipment from the Department of Defense. You can get firearms, you can get rifles, handguns. We got aim point optics for these guns that are like $1,000. You can get vehicles. In Andrews, we got $300 first aid kits, brand new. You can get tool chest, snap-on tool chest, office equipment. We got for things like a right patrol. You can get things like helmets, shields. We even got these pepper ball guns that we never used, for a riot situation, but tons of equipment, workout equipment. I know Swain's talking about doing a range out here. If you can show the need that you're gonna build a shooting range for your department, they have equipment like track hose and everything. This is totally free. Now, you have to go get it. We had to go down to Warner Robins. You'll have to go to some military base to pick it up, but it's free. And most of this stuff, after you keep it a year, it's yours. Things like firearms and optics and things like that, of course, you have to keep on file. You can't ever get rid of them. You can use them as long as you want for free, but you have to give them back. They also offer ammunition at reduced price there. I mean, it's not free, you have to pay, but it's miles less than what you pay on the open market. So that's just some ways there that I thought about to save a little money for the taxpayer.
I'm a big thing on, and I know some people when I've talked to them, a grant's a big thing with me. I think there's tons of grants out there for especially law enforcement, and not talking bad about Swain County, but we're from a poor county. We ain't got a lot of resources like other departments, and that's what grants are for out there. And one of the things that I'm going to do is it won't be a full-time position, but it'll be a contract position. It's to hire your own grant writer for the sheriff's office, and he's going to be in the office every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But hire somebody to go through and get you grants. I would save on money. Just like what Mr. Southards talked about. The pay, you got to get the deputies up to par. That you don't want to train the deputy for 2 or 3 years, then he gets some experience and he goes off to a bigger department and make money. Then Swain County just lost money on the deputy for the last 3 years. You've trained him. Training's real big on me. Like I said, it's training though. You got the benefit off of it. We've got a training center in here. Why don't we bring training here to us and have these other departments pay us to come and get training from us that we offer? You know, and he's right about like Salemburg and that's free training. All you gotta do is pay for their salary to get them down there and feed them.